Hey everyone, Season 11 is here and everyone is always wondering the same thing. Who should they main for this season? Well today, that's exactly what we're going to cover, along with the reason for maining them, when to pick them, strategies when playing the champion, and the runes and build for each one. So let's get started with our first recommended pick of the season. Our first recommended pick is going to be Anivia. In terms of difficulty, Anivia is one of the more difficult picks on that list and will take some practice to get good at. After the changes Anivia got 2 patches ago, she's ready to take over this season. She got nerfed last patch, but it doesn't matter. Anivia has always been a hard champion for Riot to balance, simply because she has almost everything needed in her kit for a mid laner. The only thing missing is mobility. She has insane wave clear, high burst damage, consistent damage, pick potential, and disengage. So let's first talk about when to pick her. Anivia becomes a strong pick depending on how many low mobility champions the enemy team has. For example, if they have Garen, Lux, Varus, Olaf, and Thresh, that's an insanely good Anivia game. Her wall forces flashes and creates picks on its own, so if they have no way of getting over it, it's one of the strongest abilities in the game. Personally, whenever I see an Olaf on the enemy team, I like to pick Anivia. If he tries to run in with his ult, I can just wall him off and laugh. If the enemy team is something like Akali, Ezreal, Graves, etc., champions with a lot of dashes, then Anivia doesn't become as strong. Another thing that dictates how strong she is how much CC the enemy team has. CC cancels Anivia's ult, and it's a really important part of her kit. So if they have a lot of it, it's hard for her to get her damage off. So champions that can really give her a rough time are things like Bard, Alistar, Hecarim, Camille, or Kha'Zix. So let's talk strategy now. If the team is winning, you would play her like a standard control mage. Far mid, good for team fights, the usual stuff. But if your team is losing, there's a special strategy I like to use when playing her. It's a simple strategy. Your goal is to never let the tier 1 tower in mid lane fall. I've never lost a game on her if I keep that tower up, even if the map is falling apart all around me. So you really have to be prioritizing your life and wave clear. You can't forget your goal and go for a kill, then die and lose the tower, and then everything will fall apart. But by keeping the tower up, the enemy team will struggle to push their vision line up and will end up taking bad fights. For example, let's say the enemy team is pushing down to your tier 2 bot lane tower. You have mid tower still up and the enemy mid laner Akali clears the wave and starts roaming to bot to help her team. Because the wave can only go to your tier 1, she has a very small window to do this, so if it doesn't work, she's almost guaranteed to miss farm in mid. On top of this gives mid prio to you and your team, which has an insane amount of benefits. We can't go through that here, as that could be its own video, but basically it gives you time to ward or move around the map and leads to picks or numbers up fights. But let's talk about runes and builds now. For runes, I like to run this page. And build wise, you have multiple options. If they are tanky, you can go tier Liandry's, then situational items like Hourglass. If they aren't tanky, you can go tier into Ludens. I like to do a build where I go tier into Proto Belt if they don't have a lot of mobility, as it leads to super easy picks. Moving on to the second pick on our list, which is Echo. Echo is actually pretty easy to play and really abuses the new items. Proto Belt is just better than last season, and so is Lichbane, and those are his 2 core items. But Echo is insane because he has the wave clear to get through laning that a lot of assassins don't have, and he has enough damage to kill people without needing to use his ult. That's a big one. On champions like Zed or Fizz, you really need your ult to get picks in side lane, or to get kills in general, because you run out of damage after your 3 standard abilities. But Echo can just jump in and burst, and if that doesn't kill, kite away with his movement speed and then go back in. But let's talk strategy. So Echo is a mid-game champion. If you have high CS and low deaths, and make it to 2 items, you become a monster. You want to push side lane and look for picks if someone is rotating over, and if they don't come, you can just take the tower with your Lichbane or Sheen damage. Then after pushing side, it gives you a perfect flank to whatever is happening in mid, and we all know in low elo it's just ARAM half the time. Build wise, you want to rush Proto Belt, then Lichbane, then Deathcap. You might be tempted to go Hourglass third, but Deathcap is much better. At 3 items, you do insane damage to champions and towers. If you really can't survive to some AD matchups, you can build an Hourglass, but I highly recommend just learning the matchups and going Deathcap. For runes, you want this. You want to use all 3 dematerializers on ranged minions so your Q one-shots them around level 8. Alright, our next pick is one I think a lot of you will be surprised about, which is Yone. Yone isn't actually that difficult to play. He's much easier than Yasuo and has an insane mid-game after he finishes his first item. There are a few reasons why I recommend him. First, he can win any lane. If you struggle in any of the lanes, you can just take this rune page with a door and shield. You will heal so much it's almost impossible to poke you out of lane, so if you struggle against something like Lucian or Zed or Orianna, just run this setup. On top of this, Yone becomes a beast after his first item, which can be two things. Most of you know about the shield bow rush, which is probably the most common. Shield bow is great when the enemy team is on the tankier side or have a lot of burst. Without any consistent damage, you are really hard to kill and can win a lot of 1v2s. But another playstyle a lot of players don't know about is the Gale Force rush build. This is good when they have very squishy champions on the enemy team. The Gale Force is an extra dash and gives even more burst when using it with his E. You pretty much always want to use it with the E. It works great when you don't have a dash stack from your Q and no way to stack it, or to just give some more burst to finish someone off. With this playstyle, you're a lot squishier though, so you play as an assassin and look to burst 1 or 2 targets down. Alright, build wise, after the shield bow or Gale Force, I like to go Infinity Edge, Immortal Reminder, or Bloodthirster. And for runes, I use this page. Unless it's a really hard matchup, then use the page I showed you earlier. Moving on to the next champion we recommend for Season 11, which is Fizz. Fizz is in the same boat as Echo. All of his core items got buffed in the item update, so naturally, he's stronger. Also, he's very easy to play. Fizz is a bit different than Echo because he has more kill pressure in lane. Your combo is very simple before you have your ult, which is just Q auto W, then use E to disengage or get more damage. Once you grab Hextech Alternator and are level 6, you can pretty much one-shot any squishy champion. I one-shot this Victor without even using my E, which has all my points in it. But macro-wise, you play Fizz the same as you play Echo. You push side lane, look for picks on people that are rotating, or take the tower and rotate to mid. It all depends on the situation. For items, I like a cooldown shoes rush into Proto Belt and Lichbane, or sometimes just going cooldown shoes into Hourglass and Lichbane, skipping a mythic until 3rd. For runes, I run this page pretty much every game. Alright, now for our last pick on the list of recommended champions for Season 11, which is Annie. I'm sure you all expected her to be on here. Annie is here because she's very easy to play and has simple win conditions. Use your combo to one-shot a squishy or multiple squishies. This has always been the way to play her, but now she's even better since her E is an actual shield. She can use it on teammates too, which is great for her 2v2 fights with junglers. Annie does so much damage so fast and without needing much gold. The best way to play her macro wise is to look for flanks and use Proto Belt or Flash to look for big stuns or ults. If you can get a good flank, you can solo win a team fight for your team. And you will catch many squishy champions off guard if they don't expect you, and you won't even need Flash to do it. For items, I like 2 different builds, but Annie can build a lot of different things, so you don't have to follow this that closely. But I like tier into Proto Belt, Horizon Focus or Hourglass second, then Deathcap. Or I will go Ludens into Horizon Focus. Horizon Focus gives a lot of AP and 10% extra damage when you stun them, so it's pretty nice with Annie. But for runes, I like to run this page with Electrocute, but the runes are just like with items. Annie can run multiple things. Comet is good too, so experiment and figure out what you like the most. Alright guys, that's going to conclude our list of champions we recommend for Season 11. And it's also going to bring us to the end of this video. We hope you enjoyed the video, good luck in the new season, and thanks for watching.